Welcome back to The Muster Point, the podcast where we share stories from the trenches of Otterburn to the rough seas of the South Atlantic. I'm Steve Black, former Challenger 2 boiling vessel lover.
And I'm Stu Mendelsohn, former inventor of all things military, now inventor of crazy ideas to entertain veterans.
Today we're discussing the weird and wonderful excuses for getting out of things from our time in the forces.
We've also got all of the usual stuff, forces news, plenty of banter, and a muckers remembered.
Grab your decaf tea, bottle of Warsteiner, or whatever else gets you through the day.
This is The Muster Point, currently featured on page 62 of the June edition of Soldier magazine.
Right, let's have it.
Hello, Steve.
Hello, Stu. How you doing, mate? You all right?
We've got a slightly different format today, haven't we? We're doing it remotely. We're trialing it to save on editing time, I guess, because it's good for that. But we've had some teething problems, and I think we're both quite pissed off with it.
Yeah, it's been about 3 hours since we started all this, or 3.5 hours. Isn't it?
Is it? Fucking hell.
Yeah,
I might as well just drove down to yours for all the time it's saved.
Think of the environmental impact, though.
Well, I've got a fucking electric car. It don't matter.
Yeah, it's still you've still got to charge it using a power station that probably burns coal or wood.
Yeah, true. And that's a good point because my driveway is currently blocked with some topsoil after that work I was doing at the weekend, and the fuckers that are meant to be collecting it haven't collected it. So I've been struggling to charge my car, which is quite frustrating. The joys of an electric vehicle.
Can't you just flush it down the toilet, like a mugful at a time?
Well, like what's it called? Shawshank Redemption. Just like
the Great Escape. Just start going for a walk and drop in a little bit at a time. Pay the kids.
That'd be good, wouldn't it?
Take a bit over the park every time.
Yeah, I'd just take this. Yeah, I could do without a doubt, but it'd take a while, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
All right. So, what we've been up to? You want to talk about your trip to France?
Yeah, I'll get that out of the way because that was a couple of weeks ago. We saved it. So I went to Arras in northern France.
Okay.
A lot of people have heard of Arras from the First World War because it got flattened. But in 1940, there was a counter-attack to stop the Blitzkrieg and hopefully change the outcome of the initial part of the war. Yeah. It was mainly the 4th Royal Tank Regiment. I think the 7th Royal Tank Regiment there, but they didn't seem to get too involved. And the Durham Light Infantry, I think there were 2 battalions. And the outcome was they stopped the Blitzkrieg, basically. They give the Germans a bloody nose. Unfortunately, the 4th Royal Tank Regiment got wiped out. Not a lot of people know that. It's a whole regiment's worth of tanks. I don't know what that number is, probably 50-odd tanks. Matilda tanks.
You know?
Because I don't know. they didn't have a regiment's worth of tanks. That's the thing. I know that. They were nicking tanks off other regiments left, right and centre.
Bloody hell.
To make up some sort of force. But there wasn't much mentioned about it. It was sort of kept quiet from the public because it was horrible. But there was no bravery awards or nothing. And some of the stories we was told, like there was a rank called a W03, which was a sergeant major acting as a troop leader. Yeah. And this one bloke, he was before the war, he was a circus strongman. So he was a big strong but his tank got hit, I think, 7 times by an anti-tank gun.
Yeah.
And it carried on going. But when he fired it, the gun shot back into the turret. And pinned him up against the back of the turret. But because he's a big strong man, he managed to put it back into place and hold this gun in place whilst they carried on firing. And they took this anti-tank position out. But like I say, no bravery award because...
Really?
2 lieutenant colonels were killed. But it just wasn't really mentioned.
Bloody hell.
Yeah.
Have you got this... What was this strong man's name? You got it?
Oh. No, I haven't got his name. There's not many.
Not much information. Yeah.
No, it's just a few diary extracts and things like that. It's sad. But,
it is. Who did you go there with?
The Tank Regiment Association. It was a 4 RTR thing, really, which is that's the Scottish part of the Tank Regiment.
Yeah.
Which then become 1 RTR, which is now just RTR. But I just wanted to go for a trip, and I ended up getting dicked to be a standard bearer.
Okay.
Which I weren't too happy about, but it was an honour, to be fair. I carried the 8th Royal Tank Regiment, which isn't around no more. They was disbanded years ago. But I do know a few 8th veterans and a few widows, so it was a bit of an honour to be able to carry their standard. I'm glad I did it.
Did your missus go with you?
Yeah, my missus and my mate Bill and his missus.
Oh, yeah.
we had a nice time. It's really expensive over there. It's like €7 for half a pint of beer, and it was horrible. But no, I like that part of France. It's just nice. But we went to the Commonwealth War Graves visitor centre where they make the gravestones.
Sorry, which part of France is it? So
Arras.
if so, is it top? So is it
right at the top,
near towards Belgium?
I think so. It's where the Somme was and all that. You know, it's where all the fighting in the First World War happened. Not far from Cambrai. Everywhere you got there, there's just like you got Vimy Ridge where the Canadians fought in the First World War. There's a beautiful memorial there. It's one of the most unbelievable ones there is in northern France. But that's where the counter-attack started from. So the Durham Light Infantry, I think it's the 1st and 2nd Battalion, and they were territorial regiments. So they weren't even, I don't want to say proper soldiers, but they weren't professional soldiers at the time. They marched for 24 hours to get to Vimy Ridge, where the 4th Royal Tank Regiment were waiting for them. As soon as they arrived, after the 24-hour march, the tank regiment went, right, we're off now. So they were just constantly trying to catch up, which meant they didn't really get too involved in the action. There was a bit where they did defend a wood line or something, and they've done a good job of it. But again, there's no recognition for it.
And is this a yearly pilgrimage?
No, it's because it's the 85th anniversary. They wanted to make a big point of it.
How many of you went?
From the association, I think there was about 16 of us. 16, about maybe 20. Then you had a load of officers, and fucking hell, they were really posh tossers, to be honest.
What, serving?
No, all retired. The 2nd Royal Tank Regiment, our officers weren't like that. They was quite down to earth.
Yeah.
These were like cavalry officers. They were really all la-di-da. My missus heard one of them talking about how he can't go the day without champagne, and in the middle of the night I have to get up and have a glass of champagne.
Who fucking does that? What do you reckon? Do you reckon that's gen up, or he's just trying to show off or something?
I think a bit of both, really. I think just not my cup of tea, really.
I should have
had a chat with a few.
I should have given you some of my my drug and alcohol service cards just to distribute out. I think you've got a problem, sir.
Yeah, but just I don't know, just press. But no, it was a shame there was no one from the Durham Light Infantry. Maybe they didn't know too much about it. It would probably be the rifles now, I'd imagine. But maybe they didn't know. But this is where the tank regiment should have maybe said to them that we're doing this. Do you want to tag along or whatever? But but it was a good time though. It was nice. And the town, in the town, they done a parade, part of 3 parades. But the whole town come out, and there's loads of French veterans come, and we've done a parade together. We had a brigadier with us. I forgot his name now. Tank regiment brigadier. And then you had a French army general. I think he was done a speech. But it was it's just nice. So I go to Cambrai every 5 years, and it's a similar sort of setup on a bigger scale. But I do.
How were the French locals? Were you well received?
They were actually quite friendly.
You sound shocked, Steve.
I was. No, they were quite friendly.
And what about any of the football lot go? Stewie Carr or Cheats or anyone?
No, it wasn't well advertised, and it cost quite a bit of money to be quite. It was initially sold as the association going to pay for most of it, and they paid a bit. But
did you stay overnight? Did you?
Yeah, 3 nights.
3 nights. What was the accommodation like?
It was all right. Ibis, something not a normal Ibis. It was an Ibis Plus or something.
Oh,
it was all right.
check
and
you
my
out.
room had a Men in Black theme because it was a.
Oh yeah,
hotel,
you sent me a picture, didn't you?
Yeah, I thought it was funny because we were the Men in Black. You know, the tank regiment are known as that.
And of course, your name's Steve Black.
I didn't
did you know that?
I didn't know. No. I wonder if my wife knows. I'll tell her.
What was the food like? Come on, tell me about the food, because I love a bit of French cuisine.
Well, first of all, we went to an Italian.
Okay.
next to the hotel. And then the second night, we had a big function. And it was a buffet. I didn't eat none of it, to be fair. I wasn't hungry. I was drinking beer, though. Actually, the hotel we had this function, they had pints of Heineken. So I was throwing them down my neck, and it filled me up. So, and then the last night, a Burger King, which was nice.
Yeah. So no frog's legs, no foie gras? No mussels?
I wouldn't eat foie gras.
Snails?
I'd eat frog legs and snails, but not foie gras. I remember seeing that a couple of years ago in France, in the duty free. I thought it was corned beef. It's in like a tin of corned beef. It's €35. I thought, fucking hell, €35 for corned beef. And then I see the foie gras. I was like, no, I can't do that.
Get it in, yeah. It's good shit, man. Good shit.
My mate Tom brought me a jar back from France. I was like, I'm sorry, mate. I was like, thanks for bringing it, but I can't eat that.
Ungrateful sod, didn't you?
I know, yeah.
So what do you? What is there going to be another one? Is there next year or?
No, it won't be. We only do the Canberra thing every 5 years. But no, we went. It was, like the French were really good. We went into town all after. Beautiful. Because Arras was flattened. There was nothing left in the First World War. And they've rebuilt this town, and it's amazing. There's a tunnel system underneath, and there's hospitals underneath. But we didn't get to go and see all that. But something I'd like to go back to. Maybe next time I go to Canberra, because it's only, I think, 20 minutes away.
Yeah.
I might have a look.
Go and have a look.
Yeah. My missus sniffed out a Pandora shop. She always sniffs out Pandora.
Typical.
Wherever we go.
Typical woman like that.
Yeah. I see a French woman dwarf. So they've got dwarves in France.
Oh, yeah, that's good to know.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Any French people?
A few French people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
May we, may we.
Yeah. No,
Did you bring any booze back? Any booze?
I did, but it
Do
wasn't
the old
worth it.
booze and tobacco run?
It's more expensive over there.
Yeah.
To be fair, unless you bought, I think it was 4 crates of stuff on the ferry, but then you got to lug it down 5 flights of stairs.
You
It
get
was
a
little
fucking
bit cheap.
ferry, did you?
Yeah. Yeah.
Bloody hell. That's like being in the 90s, isn't it? I thought everything was
You know what, it was
Eurotunnel
alright.
now.
Yeah, it was all right. I think it was more because we was going in multiple buses, because I had to drive a minibus. We all met up, and it's just the way, because a lot of them people, they see each other every few years, like the older boys. So it was
They
just
could have a
way of
get-together.
having a bit of a chat. It's only an hour and a half on the ferry, but the other bus got stopped on the way back because I was in a 9-seater and they had like a 17-seater, so they had to go in the coaches bit. And one of the coaches, not them, they found like a grenade or something. Someone had bought something in a French shop, like a gift shop, and it was they didn't have the correct paperwork, so they got delayed by a couple of hours, so they missed the ferry. They had to get another one.
Who was it? Was it some old boy, was it?
Yeah, I think probably bought in a souvenir shop like a grenade or something.
Brilliant.
It's probably dead, but you got to have the right paperwork, whatever it is.
Yeah.
But that other bus that missed it, like I didn't get home till about 5 or 6 o'clock in the evening. They had to get to Plymouth, and they're dropping people off at Paul and Bournemouth on the way.
Yeah.
So I don't think they got back till gone midnight.
Bloody hell.
Yeah, on a Friday. So, but yeah, it's great. I love doing stuff like that.
Yeah. You're very involved with the Tank Regiment and the association.
Yeah, I was at a
Which is
funeral the
good.
other day.
Which is good
Yeah.
because, as you say, like it doesn't get a lot of these associations. They're run by the old and bold, don't they? Who are gonna be dying out, and it's for people like ourselves to keep them going.
And that's
isn't it?
where like, my mate Chris setting up the football thing. And I think he's on about setting up as a branch. I don't know how that works, but they've got to move with the times at the end of the day, or these associations, the branches will die out.
Yeah. You said you was at a funeral.
Yeah, I was again through the association. John Durrant, I mentioned him in the Muckers, remembered a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
He was the chairman of the London branch. Lovely bloke. It was his funeral, and again I was asked to carry the 8th Royal Tank Regiment standard because that's what he'd carried in past. So it was a bit of an honour to do that. I led his coffin into the chapel.
Nice.
And,
it's a great honour, that I guess.
It was, yeah. It was hard work, though. To be fair, standing there, not to attention, but just stood at ease for 45 minutes. I ain't done that for a long time.
Yeah.
I knew about it afterwards, but yeah, no, it was an honour to be able to send him off that way. He loved the Tank Regiment.
We went to Parliament, didn't we, Steve?
We did.
So this was an invite from Helen Maguire, the MP for Epsom and Ewell. She is the head, the chair of the Explosive Weapons and Their Impact APPG. I know I'm hoping I mentioned the other week on a podcast that I went to the Armed Forces Community APPG, and an APPG is a all-party parliamentary group. So this one was about explosive weapons, and Helen had invited us down. It was held in the Parliament Terrace, which is sort of like a function gazebo overlooking the Thames. We had some drinks and canapes.
We did.
Did you have an alcoholic drink? Did you?
I did.
think
I
you
didn't want to
yeah.
drink, but I thought I've got to have a beer as I can in the Houses of Parliament. I had a bottle of Prony for free.
Yeah. I was on the old orange juice, which
It was nice orange juice, didn't it? I had a couple of them.
It was like thick. It had substance to it, didn't it? And it tasty,
Shit.
but you don't expect fucking Lidl stuff at the Houses of Parliament, do you?
Nah.
But I think we felt a bit out of place, didn't we? We couldn't
we had a
really
good chat with
understand what was happening.
a lot of people said I think they knew each other because these big businesses.
Yeah. Well, it was sponsored by contractors that go to post-conflict countries and dispose of mines, and it was sponsored by them, and it was like a business networking meeting, wasn't it?
But we had the chat with the British Red Cross, didn't we? Oh, sorry, the Red Cross. A couple come over, didn't they? A man and a woman.
Yeah.
She was in the intelligence side of things in the RF.
Yeah.
We was with them for quite a bit. We had a good chat with them, and
I think it was interesting because I think they felt a bit conflicted being there because obviously there was a lot of talk of how like defense stuff and how explosive weapons are used in war, and obviously that conflicts with the humanitarian aspect, and I think they were a bit not sure. But yeah, they were nice people, weren't they? The guy was, I think he was from Switzerland.
Yeah, was a really nice bloke.
He had some bright trousers on. But yeah, it was I mean, it was just about making just being there, wasn't it? Like being recognised in. Obviously, we're getting a little bit of a profile amongst MPs, and the word of the muster points getting out there, and it was just keeping that up.
Yeah, and MP coming out to chat with us, didn't he, as well?
Yeah, and one of his team, Tom. Tom's also a local councillor in Stevenage. But I did speak to Helen Maguire because I'd been looking into. So back in December, the government made a big announcement where they'd removed the local connection criteria for social housing for veterans. Previously, there was a caveat where a veteran had to have left the forces within the last 5 years. Then they were exempt from the local connection criteria. But December, they made a big announcement saying, yep, we're changing this so any veteran could go to any local authority. They don't have to have a local connection to that local area, and they could be put on the housing register. And I'd taken, obviously, these things and looking into them. I'd found, well, basically every local council that I looked into hadn't updated their housing policy, including this Helen Maguire, who's it? Amanda Martin, Portsmouth North, Al Khan's Birmingham City Council haven't updated theirs. Stevenage Borough Council, loads of councils. Interestingly, Greenwich Council down in London, which is part of the constituency of his name's gone, but basically the housing minister who had, obviously this is his baby. He made the announcement. Interestingly, his Greenwich Council have changed their housing policy, but they've caveated it with if a veteran's in emergency need of housing, then they don't have to meet the local connection request, which is just bollocks because that's not what the legislation says. So yeah, I made that point to Helen. I said I'd email her. I haven't emailed her. I should really do that.
Yeah, why not? And then from there, Kev said, have you heard the news? And we said, no. What? He went, well, everyone else has heard it. It's been leaked. And he said, I take it you don't read the Times. And we said,
fucking hell.
And he said, do you want to come and watch it? So he got us like special tickets to go and watch the Strategic Defence Review. Not in the
House of Commons.
We was on the side. We got told off, didn't we, for talking?
Yeah, not allowed to talk. Had our phones taken off us.
We're just not really having a chat. We're just pointing out people.
Yeah.
Told you're not allowed to talk in here. I'm sorry, but we was in there for a long time, weren't we? A couple of hours.
Well, yeah. So the Strategic Defence Review went on for what? It was over 2 hours, to the point where not all members got to ask a question, and the speaker had to cut the debate off. But it was quite interesting because we were literally opposite the Labour bench, and you could see the colour, the whites of their eyes, as they say, couldn't you? And when Kevin, Stevenage's MP, comes in, he like gives us a little, didn't he?
He did, yeah.
But he was sat next to Amanda Martin, who I've engaged with previously. But old Bottle, if you're watching, how you doing? Because Bottle, go on, tell the story. Bottle had.
Yeah, Bottle was. I think he works for like the housing team where he lives, and he went to some event and got to talking to her, and basically he wants to set up some sort of a breakfast club type thing, similar to what we've done, I think. But in Portsmouth, they've got things already, but I don't think they're as good as they could be or whatever. So he wants to set something up, and she's going to help him. And she's a Portsmouth North MP.
Yeah.
So he's got a place, and I said we'll help you any way we can, you know, ideas, whatever, our story. But he said she wants to get in touch with us and meet us. So he told me to email her and put an urgent on it, and she'll come and meet us. But unfortunately, we didn't get to meet her. But I'm not like, no disrespect, I'm not that bothered. Like, it's nice to meet these people, but I don't think it will benefit us that much. It's just another way of networking.
Yes, it's just about networking. Obviously, I can ask her why Portsmouth City Council haven't updated their local authority policy on housing. Interestingly, before, so I met you outside Westminster Tube Station because I was interviewed by House magazine. So, like, when was it? Bloody hell, I'm doing that thing again where I get all confused. So we went to the Houses of Parliament last Monday, which was Monday the 2nd of June, I believe. Is that right?
Sounds about right.
And then that weekend, I'd been doing some groundworks on fucking digging up some topsoil and all that bollocks in the garden. And I'd had this email. Yeah, it was an email from Sophie, who's a journalist for this House magazine, which apparently is an internal parliamentary magazine which gets distributed to all the MPs and peers. And I was like, yeah, this sounds a bit dodgy. But I asked a few questions to some members of Kev's team, and they said it's actually a publication and it's like taken quite seriously. So I thought, oh shit, the reporter wanted to speak to me about Valor, but I thought, which I did do, but I wanted to guide it onto this issue with the local connection criteria. So hopefully it should go into a copy, so then every MP can have a look at it and then challenge their local authority on updating their housing policies. Because I know it's only a little thing, but I think I minimise it in my head because it's not a little thing, is it? If you're going to change the law, then roll it out.
This is what infuriates me. You know, when they create these new laws, they've got to be prepared for the outcome of it. You know, because that's could potentially open the floodgates to a lot of people being want to put their names on the housing list.
Yeah.
And they've got to be prepared for that.
I spoke to my best mate James, his wife, about it because she works in health and safety, and if there's like a major policy change from central government on health and safety, then like rest assured every fucker knows about it, don't they? I just don't see why the same thing can't be implemented. Yeah. Like, it's not hard, is it? I don't know. Well, maybe it is, but I don't know.
But surely, you know, your local MP and the people who go to Parliament, that's your link between your town and the government. Like, so there's something lost in translation there.
Yeah, exactly.
That's how I see it.
I also had so I don't know if I can't remember what I spoke about last time, but I know I haven't spoken about this. So I spoke to a gentleman from the Office of Veteran Affairs specifically about Valor, because there's just not enough information coming out about it, and I get that it was very PR related around to tie it in with VE Day anniversary, but it just seemed like, this is what we're doing, but what are we doing? Who knows? And I had a conversation for a half hour, which, well, you know me, Steve, half hours are not enough time for me to talk about veteran affairs and that, but they're still in the planning stage. For the benefit of Stevenage Borough Council, it's Valor, not Operation Valor. But it's still, we still don't know what it's going to look like. But what was reassuring was, I think, reading between the lines, I think the Veterans Minister had to play that PR game to release it earlier than maybe he would have. But it is his baby. He sees it more than a 3-year thing. Obviously, he can't guarantee that because of the change of governments. I don't want to slag it off, because any Any publicity, anything that gets people talking about the support for veterans is good. Any money coming in is good. Hopefully it's not wasted. Hopefully it brings some coordination and makes people work together, because we've been experiencing it, haven't we, Steve, where people are getting let down, and it's it's hard, isn't it?
When we was watching the Strategic Defence Review, there was an MP, a young lady, I think she's from the Midlands, she stood up and she said, how can you justify spending all this money on missiles and things like that when you've got people dying in Gaza? And he just said, the UK's defence is the most important thing.
Oh, yeah, it's the primary purpose of government.
Yeah, you don't have, the health service, all that sort of stuff, because this defence review was talking about cyber security quite a lot, space security. And
that would be good for Sleech's missus, wouldn't it?
Yeah, so business, but it sort of shut her down a bit, and then she started arguing with another MP in front of her.
They were all arguing like children, weren't they?
Yeah, they were shouting at each other, and it was, it's not. I get her point, but it's not what they're there for. And I hope that the government saying that defence is the most important thing. Hopefully our troops will feel that way, because I don't think they feel like they're important at the minute.
Nah. I mean, there was a lot of talk about investment in service accommodation. I mean, it was all good talk, but it's just talking until we see some actual action. Yeah. But it is funny being there, because it's bad enough them on TV watching it on them on TV, and they're like children. It's exactly this. Well, it's even more highlighted when you're there in person, because they all jumped on that MP, didn't they? Like they're all on the same side of the house, and they're like that. Rah, rah. Yeah. And what was it you said one of the MPs was doing? He was like looking across, going, rah.
Pointing at him like, I think it was a Cornwall MP, and it was like being at a football match.
Yeah, it was, wasn't it? Fucking
one of
funny.
the Labour MPs, a woman, she stood up and she said, look, it's all great what you're saying, but all the parties need to, I think she probably has an idea that Labour might not be in power the next election.
Well, we're a long way off, but
but she was basically saying this review needs to be, a collective agreement, because otherwise it's a waste of time. It's such a big investment. Was it 12 submarines that are going to take years to build? But if the next party comes in and scraps it, what's the point? It's just a waste of money. So,
but that's the thing, isn't it? Yeah.
I quite respect it. I don't know what her name is, but because that's the thing, because we weren't on the telly, you don't see who they are. Some of these newer politicians, the smaller ones, but that's how it should be. I think, like when it comes to defence, it should be the big parties should all speak to each other and have an agreement.
It should be. And to be fair, with any big decision across the country, like it's all because in like during World War II, there's like a war cabinet, so it's like a cross party, and for big decisions, that's like work together.
Really, COVID should have been a bit more like that, I think. They kind of just went along with it and then slagged off the government after, and it didn't look as good as it might have done. But
because they were all moaning at the beginning, weren't they? Because we entered the chamber as they were like asking they had some time for important questions before the Strategic Defence Review, and they kept bringing up the point that, or the Conservatives had kept bringing up the point that the review had been leaked to some defence contractors before they'd even got the time to read it. And obviously that's wrong. But the Speaker of the House was going, I suggest you take some time now to go and fucking read it before and all this. And it's like, but then they kept bringing it up. It's like, okay, it's wrong. We've noted it. Well done. Let's fucking move on, you cunts. It's just, I got a bit sweary then.
No, it's petty though, and you see these politicians, and I think some of them are looking, I think, I can't stand you, but some of them you think, you know what, you're a decent person, and that's the same across all the parties. There's good and bad in all of them, and I don't know, but they politics.
So we spoke to Kev afterwards, because we were hanging on for him to ask or make his statement or ask his question. He got left right to the end, didn't he? Which was a bit disappointing. Kev, he deserves more than that, I think, especially with Stevenage being a primary location for the manufacturing of, well, we've got MBDA, Airbus, who are all involved in that industry. But he was impressed that we'd stayed there for the duration, wasn't he?
Even
And
like a steward come up to us and went, you two all right?
yeah.
Like, we said,
Yeah, we're
our
fine, mate.
MPs
We're
invite
loving
us
it.
to-
Yeah.
Because we're watching people come in 15 minutes ago, didn't they?
Yeah.
And
Yeah, we just needed
we had
like
to
some
hand our phones in and
popcorn or
everything,
that. Yeah.
You go, so we had to lock our phones in a cupboard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But afterwards, so I mentioned when I went to the Armed Forces Community APPG, it's chaired by Calvin Bailey, who's part of the Defence Select Committee, and he's actually said that he's going to come to the muster point sometime in July.
Yeah.
We also extended the invite to Amanda Martin and obviously Al Khan's. He's always welcome to join us.
And we said any veteran MP is willing.
But any
willing to
MP,
come.
any MP, anyone, come along. Obviously, what was it? I mean, this is so yesterday, one of our veterans that comes to the muster point, so he lives in one of the wards in Stevenage that's having a council by-election, and he was sent some promotional PR material from the Labour Party, which even he was like, this ain't right. I think he listens to the podcast, so he was sort of aware of the communications I had, and I can't. Where's my phone? So they were on this promotional bit of material. What the fuck have I done with it? Oh, there it is. Sorry. It on this promotional leaflet from the Labour Party as part of this by-election. So the leaflet says Labour's plan is delivering for Bedwell. And they've got three things that they're doing. And the last one, real help for veterans, Operation Valour. Now, as I just said a minute ago, it's not Operation Valour. It's just simply Valour. And it's not currently being delivered. And it's a substantial amount of time away from being delivered at that level in like a ward in a council constituency, because I think they've got some pilot programs that they're going to do first up in the north, and I just it didn't sit right with me. Like it's that thing of using veterans and support for veterans as a political tool, which we don't agree with, do we, Steve? So
we don't. And our MP Kev's, he don't agree with it either. Did he? Even said that to us, like. And he's never used us we've had photos with him and stuff, but he's never used us as a tool, was he?
I don't think he has. I think it was close to the mark with that. He writes that column for our local newspaper, and our picture was used with him and Baroness Taylor, is it? Sharon Taylor, yeah, Baroness Taylor. But it had no mention of us, which I was a bit disappointed about. But yeah, so I put a post on Facebook just to outline, just to clarify things, because it's all about openness and clarity. And even a simple thing like the wrong name, I think, causes confusion. And there's already so much confusion with veteran support in the UK. But Tom, as I said, Tom's part of Kev's team and local councillor. He actually commented on it, apologised, said that he wants to engage, blah, blah, which, as I always say, we're happy to do. And then a local constituent, he showed you the comments that he came across quite angry. Like, I think I triggered him maybe. And I know my missus, and I know your missus as well, said, oh, that's a bit brutal, Stuart, posting that. But my intention was purely just to highlight the inaccuracies. And this guy, I don't know.
There's certain people that, I don't want to get into politics, but from the left wing are very angry. Used to be the far right, but it seems like the far left now, and they jump on things and they're so passionate about it. And I think a lot of these people glue themselves to roads, things like that. Not saying he does, but that's why I just hate politics.
I said to him, like, look, I apologise. I didn't mean it to come across as sort of accusatory. Well, I guess it was accusatory. It wasn't accusatory. He was just stating facts. Look, the name's wrong, and just be mindful that this isn't being rolled out locally, and it's certainly not being rolled out locally now. But I invited him. He can come along to the muster point. Like, I'll talk to him. I'll talk to anyone face to face. I'm not. I don't think I'm that.
I don't use veterans as a political gain.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm not a keyboard warrior. I'm happy to engage with people. But yeah, just trying to think. I'll tell you what. We said it in the opening, but what's this month? June 2025. What's the big news? The biggest news? Come on, Steve. What have we been Is it? Yeah, isn't it? Come on, bigger than that. Where are we? We're in a publication.
Oh, Soldier Mag.
So fucking hell, yeah. Soldier Magazine.
Was it 62? I think in Soldier Mag. Yeah.
Yeah. Fucking, we're getting it out there, aren't we?
Yeah.
Although, what are your thoughts on the journalist failed to give the Tank Regiment's infamous game its real name?
Off-ground Willy Bum Tag. She mentions it, but she doesn't put off-ground Willy Bum Tag. So
you got a censor. Like you think the modern day soldier's a bit not as.
But when I was in Arras, my missus like, stop asking them, because I was asking all the young lads, do you know what off-ground Willy Bum Tag is? And they go, what? And there was a pipe major.
What's a pipe major?
Oh, because one RTR had the Scottish part in it, so they had pipes and drums. Now it's RTR, they've got Scottish bit. And I said to him, and he went, "What the fuck does that mean?" He'd never heard it. So it was definitely a 2 RTR thing.
There you go.
And I was all laughing about it, and I said,
"We're bringing it back, aren't we?"
We are, yeah. But the trouble is, at our breakfast club, there might be some broken hips. Yeah. So, but it'd be worth it.
We could jump on Mark Worcester, couldn't we? Naked.
Yeah, he'd be up for it.
Yeah, I think he'd enjoy it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so.
But we had our Sunday session as well.
Yesterday,
didn't we? We started the muster point on the second Sunday of every month.
Yeah.
It went well. It was nice, wasn't it? New menu.
So there was some additional.
Baps,
people love that.
Chicken breast, bap, cheeseburgers.
So I will say this, I told Frank at Costello's Cafe, Fellas Valley Park, get yourself down there and have a fish finger bap, because apparently, and I didn't have one, but the feedback we got was it was the best fish finger bap people have ever experienced. So
yeah, I wish I had one there, to be fair.
Yeah, next time, Gadget.
Yeah.
But yeah, so sadly there was no new faces, which was the main purpose behind the Sunday session. But there was 15 odd people down there. I'm aware that it was Stevenage Day yesterday, so maybe that had an effect, but we'll see we'll keep it going, see if we can attract some new faces. What do you reckon?
Yeah, like you say, we'll just keep going. I had a really nice time. I think because it was probably the lowest number we've had in a long time. Would you say it was 16?
15, I think.
15,
yeah.
It's a good number, but we had a right laugh, didn't we? We could have sat there for hours, couldn't we? We had it from the room from 12 till 2, but there was no one after us, and we did go on a little bit longer. And to be fair, we could have gone on for a couple of hours longer. We were having a good laugh and a joke.
Chewing the fat, as we used to call it, wasn't it?
Yeah. Just a good range of people as well, weren't there? There was Andy from the RF, Taff from the Royal Regiment Wales.
What was it?
From the Green Jackets.
Andy's role in the RF was observer, wasn't he?
No, when he left the RAF, he joined the Royal Observatory Corps, where it is.
Yeah.
Which I think it's like a Cold War things. I think they lived in bunker, or done a stint in a bunker in the middle of a field and just observed. So he gets some stick for that, doesn't he?
Yeah, but didn't you? You brought out his fish finger sandwich or whatever it was, and was like, fish finger sandwich, Andy, and he like completely ignored you, and you turned around and went, I thought you was a fucking observer, mate.
But George always gives him shit. You're not very observant, are you? Yeah. But that's what I love about that group, though. Just fucking constant giving each other shit.
Yeah, brilliant, isn't it?
Arthur gets it all the time, doesn't he? Because he's old and little.
Yeah. Right. I've got an icebreaker question for you.
Go on in.
In the theme of today's episode, which is excuses for PT, excuses for any excuse, really. And the military was fucking full of them. So if you had to write a field manual called 101 Tactical Excuses for Avoiding Work, what would be the main go-to, the main thing? If in doubt, use this to avoid spam jobs or anything like that.
Oh, Fucking hell.
Have a little think about it, because my number one would be always, and this works in Civvy Street anywhere, always carry a clipboard with you.
Yeah.
Because if you walk with purpose, carry a clipboard, and no one will spam you, because they'll just think, oh, he's double busy, that boy. Leave him alone. And I'll tell you what, after I left the forces and I was an engineer on some sites, it worked every time. Every time. And it'd be like, someone would go, all right, Stu, just, and it's like that, double busy, mate, double busy.
You know what you're saying? That years ago, and a tape measure is a good one as well. Just measure random things.
Yeah.
And years ago, like I lived in North London. My brother lived in Basildon, and I used to stay, because I used to work with him. This was when I was about 14, 15. And there was traffic. The traffic was horrendous on the M25. So we drove up the hard shoulder with the hazard lights on. Building, and I'd just get out every now and again and measure like a bollard or something. A couple hundred meters. Just absolute arseholes. Probably drinking as we're driving as well.
Oh. That's hearsay, right? Hearsay. Like, allegedly, yeah.
Yeah, but you know what, thinking about it, there was never an excuse. There was never an excuse. If you, like I say, there was just no excuse in my regiment to get out of anything. However, I waited on a couple of times, and like the officer's mess, and you had to, you waiting on until 2 a.m, and you had to be at work for the next morning. And I've done it twice. I just told my troop sergeant, I spoke to the commanding officer last night, and he said I could have the morning off. They're never going to question. They're never going to. I've done that twice, so I got the morning off.
Yeah, but this is coming from the guy that done his birding collie, and then paraded in front of the CO and said, "Can I stay in Colchester for an extra week because I want to do this gun run?"
Yeah.
What did he say to you?
No, go back to your unit.
We don't want you. Your time is served.
Yeah, no, please, can I do another week? Because when you get sentenced, I've got 60 days. I think you get a third off. Civil prison, you get half off if you admit it and accept your thing.
Yeah.
But you get, so if you got a 60-day sentence, you do 40 days. And I said, like, I'm quite happy to do my full sentence. He's like, go back to your unit.
Got it.
All good fun.
Right. Any bit of listener sit rep? What you got coming?
Loads of stuff, to be honest. I'll pick through.
They'll filter it. Make sure it's direct and to the point, and nobody's eating biscuits or sitting on the toilet.
Well, Bottle sent me a video. I'm not going to show it, but it was just of a ginger squaddie shitting in a carrier bag on a bus.
Where's he got that from?
There's a group on Facebook. It's like a new Fill Your Boots, I think.
Is it?
Something or other. I have to get a name for it. It's quite funny, but it's just all stupid videos.
Yeah.
Here's one. John the Sailor from our Breakfast Club.
He
told me that when he first got on ship, he had a sea daddy. And I was like, what? A fucking sea daddy? Goes,
that sounds a bit predatory, doesn't it?
I thought, yeah. He said, no, basically it's one of the senior lads, and their job's to help the new lads out. But it sounds a bit suspicious to me.
Help the new lads out, is it?
Yeah, sea daddy. That just sounds perverted to me.
I'm your sea daddy.
When I was all tanked up the other week, someone found my mate Max Belton. Max is I think he's a WO2. Found his beret in his van. Okay. So they turned the cat badge upside down. About a week later, Chris Bryant messaged him and said, how's your beret? And he goes, I didn't fucking notice. He goes, I was having a chat with this colonel.
Yeah.
And then next thing you know, I've seen my reflection. Yeah, so
good old Chrissy Bryant.
Yeah, Boydie's missus sent me a picture of a cockchafer. So,
what, the ship we spoke about?
No, this is something else. So,
but that's what we spoke about. The ship
called HMS Cockchafer. Well, this is what a cockchafer is. So a couple of weeks ago, I mentioned these massive beetles in Germany. We call them July bugs. They've got conkers and they fly around at you.
Yeah.
She said they're called cockchafers, and you get them in England. They live in like around Stoke, I think, that sort of way. And,
I was born in Stoke.
Yeah, cockchafers.
What am I? I'm a cockchafer.
But she said they call them July bugs up there. But,
all right.
She said she wants to share it because she knows we like anything genital related. So yeah, so that's from Boydie's missus. Interestingly,
there's a theory in therapy or counselling called projection. It's where somebody projects what they're feeling onto somebody else. So your mate's missus thinking that we're into genital related content could be a sign that maybe she's into yeah. Just That's all I'm saying. Just putting it out there, something to think about. What's her name? We got a name of we or we're allowed.
Well, she calls herself Boydie's Mrs.
Okay, Boydie's Mrs. Yeah.
I think her name's Megan or Mrs. Boyd.
Mrs. Boyd.
Yeah.
Turn that in on yourself, that comment about genital. Just get help, yeah.
Someone sent me a thing saying that the US military seems to be moving away from the NATO 5.56mm round, and they're going to a 6.8mm round.
Fucking hell! Just to confuse things up.
Yeah, I don't know why or what the reason is, but I did Google it, and they've got this new rifle called an M7, I think it is, and that's what they're moving to. Yeah, and it's got a different round to the rest of NATO, which just seems fucking stupid, but it goes along with what America or what Trump's government seems to be doing, with pulling away from NATO. But,
pulling away from his mate.
Challenger 3's aligning with the NATO tanks, getting a new gun to align with their ammunition, and then everyone's rifles. He's moving away, the Americans are moving away.
Old Trump's moving away from old what's his name? Musk. They've had a falling out, and it all goes on in America, doesn't it?
Yeah, I see the National Guard are out at the minute beating.
LA in LA.
Yeah,
what's that all about?
Yeah.
Fuck me. Well, they're rioting. Like, what's going on? Tell us.
The people like illegal immigrants and stuff like that.
That's it.
But the locals are sticking up for them because I think they're using them all as like cheap labour.
Housemaids and that.
Yeah. So,
who's your mate out in the States?
Oh, Rab.
Rab, tell us what's going on, Rab. Give us an update.
Yeah, I think he had did he have a question? I'm sure he sent something in. Oh yeah, he said he likes your beard. He said he
likes my beard.
He said you look Greek.
Interesting.
But he said
I'll take it. I mean, to be fair, I look I think I look like a clown anyway, but I haven't really had a clean, wet shave since I left the forces. And mainly because I look like a bigger clown than I already do. But
you sent me that picture. You had blonde hair a little while ago, didn't you?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. That wasn't long ago. Ash blonde. Yeah. Looked like something out of a boy band.
Dog, he asked me to do a shout out on the 23rd of July. A father and son, one's a Marine and one's a former Marine, and they're called Brad and Steve, are doing the 12 Peaks Brecon Beacons Challenge, which is 36 kilometres with a 2,000 metre ascent, and that's done in 12 hours. And they're gonna beat it. They're gonna beat the time, and they're doing it to raise money for the Royal Marines charity.
Fair play. Fair play to him.
My mate Jason McCluskey at work, he mentioned this the other week. There's a charity called Forces Veterans Afloat. They're a registered charity. I couldn't find too much about them. Mainly on Facebook it is, but there's a original Forces Veterans Afloat and then the registered charities. I don't know what it is. But anyway, they do up old boats and let homeless veterans live on them and get settled. I thought there's not enough detail to do a Bravo Zulu, but I thought I'd give it a shout. People can have a look up. I couldn't even see whereabouts they operate. It's a bit of a weird one. And they're on their charity, on the Gov website, there's not too much information.
Yeah.
But I say,
sounds dodgy to me.
Yeah.
Give them a look.
Sounds like a great idea, but I don't know how people get help from them because I couldn't find too much out about them.
Yeah.
But Dog also sent me that Siemens are doing a big recruitment thing. It's called a Mobility Military to Rail Programme.
Okay.
It's for people leaving and those that have left within the last 2 years. And Dog works on a railway, and he said Siemens pay well, and there's good options for moving around and progressing with Siemens.
It's that caveat again. And there's loads of big companies out there that do that. Like, veterans, but you have to have left in the last 2 years. Like, don't get me wrong, again, any support for veterans is good, but why the caveat? I don't get it.
I don't know. Is that like I don't know, are they getting a backhander off the government or something? I don't know. It's weird. Or are they trying to get people before they start getting fat and not giving a fuck?
But interestingly, so part of the Armed Forces Covenant is that the defence? Yeah, the Secretary of State for Defence, so that John Healey, who we saw in Parliament. So he's required to write an annual report as part of the Covenant, and it looks at employment statistics after people leave the forces, but the statistics only like I'm sure it's like only 6 months after people leave. It's like
Yeah.
forget what happens afterwards, and it doesn't sort of look at what type of work people are in, whether they're self-employed or they're on permanent contracts or 0-hour contracts. So it's like a bit more work could be done there, couldn't it? Like,
Yeah.
who knows?
I've got a couple of questions as well. I can't remember who sent one, but someone said, what's a shell scrape? It's basically just a hole in the ground, just big enough for normally 2 people, I think, and from my experience, just a hole, just enough to give you a bit of protection.
Yeah.
Not quite a trench.
And a lick out for digging, especially if it's
horrible,
around.
isn't it? Especially with roots in the ground and stuff like that. And you've got little
Interestingly, and it's from my memory, it was. So I remember digging them in basic training and maybe phase 2. If we done like exercises, like when I was at my squadron, we'd usually harbour up at areas that already had them dug out. Like it was like a bullshit sort of opportunity for people to be thrashed. But in basic training, I think I've mentioned him before, my wingman was a lad called Ross Davenport. He's up from Rhyl in North Wales, and his nickname was the JCB because like grass, like roots of trees, fucking anything, he'd be like that. I'd be like that. Cheers, Ross.
The strong, like, we used to call them farmer strength. You know, skinny people who've just got the strength of 10 men.
Yeah. Exactly.
The other question, Mac sent in, I don't know who Mac is, but he sent me a text. Why do engineer Ruperts have different cap badges?
It's a good point. They have the bomb, didn't they? Same as the artillery. I don't actually know, but so just do the tank regiment officers have different cap badges?
No, I think quite a lot of them buy a silver cap badge, but it's the same badge.
Yeah, I don't know.
They have a few different, but they wear, like on our overalls, we wear like a plastic belt, you know, like the green belt. It's similar to that, but it's black. But the officers wear like a 1958 pattern one.
Okay.
It's really old, and they polish it up and wear brass buckles. But other than that, it's the same uniform.
Yeah, I'm not sure, because also the engineers officers, the bomb is like material. It's not like a
cloth.
Yeah. It's a good mate. Right, I'm gonna write that down. And who was it? Mac, yeah.
And a couple of other things I've noticed from listening to our podcast. We mentioned a couple of slang and phrases. One's an FFD, first field dressing, which is your bandage you carry. Everyone carries a couple of them. A provo.
Yeah.
I don't know what the actual description is. It's like your internal police force, isn't it? They go around making sure everyone's smart. And, it's like a shit job, isn't it?
Well, no, it's fucking... Because obviously...
Chris Bryant was a provo for a bit.
Wasn't
the main... White, though.
The main provo was like stripy, wasn't he?
Yeah.
But I do remember, like, I'm sure you had like a full screw or a lance jack.
Yeah.
Very rare, but... And they were dickheads. Like, because they thought there was a bit of fear around the stripy provo. It was like, because it was like he could go straight to the badge or whatever and be like this fucker. So you played the game in that. But then a Lance Jack provo, it was like, fucking wind your neck in, mate. Like,
yeah, cause like we had like provo sergeant, normally a full screw and a Lance Jack. And it was hard for them because they're mates. They're telling their mates off. And it was more like, oh, come on, lads, just move your car. You know, I can't, I'm pissed at me now. Right, just move it.
Yeah.
You know, just things like that. And, you know, you haven't got you got your hands in your pockets, and they just get your hands in your pockets. Whereas a provo sergeant would shout at you.
Yeah, and they were always good at drill, weren't they? That was another one of their things, wasn't it? Like, maybe. Or am I making out?
Stick as well.
Yeah.
Stick,
Dobie,
which is dirty washing, laundry.
Yep, Dobie bag.
Yeah. And then I was watching Indiana Jones and The Last Crusade.
Which one? Fucking hell, the CGI on that's terrible, isn't it?
The tank's like some weird tank as well. They're made up out of bits and pieces.
Oh, here we go. You and your bloody...
Oh, don't get me started on films. But the Arab bloke say imshi. And I remember that. Do you remember that in Afghanistan? I remember in Iraq we say imshi. It means like fuck off. You tell the kids imshi.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, I think it means like, go away or fuck off.
The term I used in Afghanistan was, or we learned, was butcher baz or something, which basically meant like you shag boys, which a lot of them did, but it was like a derogatory term.
Did you ever have the blokes come up to you, or kids going, jiggy jiggy mister, jiggy jiggy, give me a pen, jiggy jiggy.
Gollum was pen, I think.
Oh right, yeah, they do anything for a pen.
But I had my troop commander in Afghan was female. Like, when she'd come out on patrol with us, like in the Panther, she'd get out of the vehicle and the kids were like on her. It was like,
You didn't see women in Afghanistan, did you?
well, you see either young female children or like old biddies and that, and it was crazy. So we went into we ended up on one of the patrols I was on. I think I mentioned it before. We ended up going into this compound, and basically the owner of the compound got paid off to leave, which, well, it must have been tough for him, because I think if the Taliban found out, his family would have been for it. But it was the incident where, engineer, you can start sandbagging. And I had to do all the sandbags, which was fun. But so we were in this compound, and like there was like the dad, as it were, I think his mum, who was some old biddy, and then like the young kids running around, and like we were there for a good hour or so while they were agreeing whether he would leave or what money he wanted, etc. And then when it was decided and he took his family off, out of the house, as it were, in the compound, came these two pristine burqa'd bodies, like walking out. We were all like, fucking, where did they come from? And the interpreter was like, that's like his two daughters that are of age. I think they were like 17 and 18. So it was like, you're not allowed to look at them.
Because I remember we was clearing a route and I looked over this wall and there was a woman in like a pair of pajamas, and she seen me, she screamed and ran in.
Yeah.
I got on the PRR, I went, boss, I've just seen a woman. He went, oh, fuck. He goes, oh, and he reported it higher, and they're like, fuck. Everyone locked down, like getting all around defence. It might kick off here because we've seen a woman.
Well, Steve's, what is it? Because of them, or because fucking hell, Steve's seen a woman, fucking hell, in her pajamas. Yeah. It's never happened.
Like, you don't rarely see women, and if you do, you don't see their face.
Nah.
It's weird because in Iraq they wore like their headscarf, but their face, and you'd see them, you talk to them, you know, we'd search them. Obviously, a bit more careful, try and get a woman to search them, but
but that was the especially Helmand was so under Sharia law, so strictly, and it probably is now, sadly. But we tried.
Other thing I've got to mention is it's from Mrs. Black, my wife. She said I've got to say something nice about her because I'm always saying horrible things about her. So, yeah, and she said,
well, go on then, say something nice.
She's nice, and she said she's always been a massive Spurs fan, not all of a sudden, like I keep saying.
Yeah. Well, she lost out on the Spurs pennant, didn't she? She must be wounded.
Where was it? She bought another one. She bought one off the Spurs shop.
Desperate.
Yeah. So, but I got to apologise. So sorry, Mrs. Black. So.
Well, she didn't ask for an apology. She asked for you to say something nice.
And she said,
she wanted an apology. Well, fucking hell, she don't want too much, does she? What about, you need to mention about, we had a picture sent in from Dave, Mark, Snotty and Daz from the muster point.
Oh, yeah. Right, so I don't know the full details of this, but yeah,
it was that Bassingbourne breakfast that you got invited to and didn't bother responding.
Fuck off. Yeah, but no, Bassingbourne, it's a local...
I've never seen you snap like that.
I never turned down a breakfast.
Yeah.
No, yeah, all the local veterans groups and military sort of organisations, they invite people, don't they? Was it 80 odd people?
Yeah, well, I mean, this seems like a regular one. I think it's like I don't know if it's every month, but certainly.
Yeah, they got invited because they're all part of the Royal Anglian Association. Was it 4 of them? Yeah, they had a really good time, didn't they?
Yeah, I think I spoke to Snotty and Mark and that, and they said like they got, so it was like in the officers' mess, this breakfast, like fucking Snotty was loving it, like he loves his breakfast, that boy. But they got taken on a little tour of the camp, see what's going on. But yeah, they had a lovely time. I'll try and edit in the picture because they all look very happy in their ties, don't they?
No, they had a good time. And the thing is, the Royal Anglians used to do that was their depot, so they done their training before it was an ATR. That's where the I think the Queen's Division. So whatever regiments of the Queen's Division would have done their training there. Because when I done my training there was a museum for the Queen's Division. Yeah. So it must have been nice for them. So I'd like to go back there, but someone didn't reply to the email.
Well, because I asked you again, I said, "Oh, do you want to be kept on the? You're interested in going next time?" And you were like, "Yeah." So they know. They just have to.
I'll go. I want to nick something out the officers' mess.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I might have a dump in the toilet, but face the wall, so you leave a big skid.
You're hacking, didn't you? I love it. Fucking
There's
love
my
it.
mark.
Right, should we go on to frontline focus? The main part of today, excuses. I want to know your excuses, Steve.
I
Or
didn't really.
more to the point, you said earlier on that you couldn't. There were no excuses you could give in to RTR. Why? Why is that?
Because it's just there was never an excuse. You know, if you're late, why are you late? Well, car broke down. We should service it.
Yeah.
You know, there was always an excuse. Like, we never really got punishments. It was quite a relaxed regiment. Like, we never had people on ROPS, restriction privileges, ROP, or Jenkers as they used to call it. We never really had people like you had to really fuck up. Like, I think Twinny said in one of his voice notes, I think I could make out that he said he threw a pint glass at the telly in the naffy when Liverpool won or lost or something.
Yeah.
So he got bust, and which even then I think that's quite harsh. There must have been someone important in there to seen that.
Yeah.
We very rarely had people getting shit like that. It was normally like if you're late for work, right, you're making the teas all day, you know, you're washing the cups. Like,
But what about like shit jobs? Like, was there anything you could say to get out of it, or anything that comes to mind?
No, but I got out of an exercise once. Remember when them little kids fold up metal scooters come out? Probably about 2007, 2008. There's a park I used to take my nephew and niece called Oakwood Park in North London, and it was on a big hill. So they was going up and down this, and I said, I'll show you how to fucking do it. So I got on this little kid's scooter, and I was going so fast down this hill, I couldn't stop. And at the end of it is a lake, so I was like, shit. So I just had to abandon it, so I just jumped.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I grazed all my knees, my face, my neck was all killing me. And I went back to work. That was probably on a Sunday afternoon. I went back to work next day, we was going to exercise, and I said to the Sergeant Major what had happened. And it's not really an excuse, it actually happened. But I made out that I got like whiplash and everything. And because it was so last minute, he didn't even get me to report to the officer's mess and be a bitch or anything. I just had a week off, so it works out quite well. And then when they come back in off Salisbury Plain, I was stood there waiting with crisps and drinks and stuff for the lads. So, yeah, I've got to have an exercise for falling off a little kid's scooter.
Yeah,
you got any good excuses?
So, I mean, ones that came up I never used were, and it's the infamous, the biff chit, laminated biff chit. The fucking amount of blokes would be like, I've got biff chit, I can't do this. The only time that really came in handy was when, say, like I think I mentioned it in a previous episode where we're up at like R5 for like some freedom of the city drill thing and we're practicing drill. And it'd be like, I can't do drill. I thought, you fucking bastard. That's when you need it. But the ones I used, so the main one down in Chatham on a Wednesday afternoon, we had fucking sports afternoon. And I look back in that and I think like, especially at Chatham, because it was a training regiment, but it was a massive one. So the sports afternoons, you could do like literally any sport you imagine. There was a group like doing it. And, but we wanted to get, me and a few of the lads, we were like, I can't be bothered. Like, we just want to go back and get our fat ones down. Typical, again, crap out. But we used to, so Wednesday afternoon was the opportunity you had to go to the dick doctor in Chatham. And so like that was, I've got an appointment at the dick doctor. I won't be able to do sports afternoon. So that one came up, which is interesting, like, because you think civvies, it'd be like, you wouldn't want to admit that, would you? But in the forces, it's like, my dick's falling off. Even though it's not, it's like, I'd rather that than do sports afternoon. It's fucking ridiculous.
Funny, but Bottle said his excuse was he told Hackey, who was I think his troop sergeant, or his sergeant major, I got the clap and I can't run because my knob was all rotten and falling off.
Well, I told that story about my mate Sherm, who had 14 different strains of gonorrhea, bless him. But so because I was thinking, like, apart from the obvious, like walking around with a clipboard and just being like, I'm busy sort of thing. So the ones that stood out for me was, so after I come back injured and I'd got some sort of eyesight back in me, my reasonable eye, I do remember. So I ended up, and I was signed off, so I didn't have to come on rear party or anything like that. I was at home at my mum and dad's. But I do remember, because I was going a bit stir crazy, and this could have been about February time maybe, because I remember it was cold. So I said, and Mick Knowles was rear party senior NCO. So I said, can I come back to the squadron for a week? Like, I'm fucking doing my nut here? And he was like, yeah, Sandy. He goes, funnily enough, we've got a rear party night out at the dog racing up near Newcastle. So I'll kick one of the sprogs off and basically give him your position, give you his position. I was like, sound. So I remember being up there for a week, and in typical rear party fashion, one of the things they'd done was cleaning rifles. And I remember I was like that. I was like, yeah, sound like fucking. I mean, this is how bored I must have been, because it was like, yeah, I'm happy. I'll help out with fucking rifle cleaning. We were sat there, and then suddenly, like, the realization dawned on me how fucking shit rifle cleaning is. And I basically stood up and went, yeah, I'm bored of this. I'm going. And obviously, like, this full screw and whoever was like, we can't say anything to him because he's not even meant to be here. But what was even better, so on this troop rear party night out, we go to the dog racing, and there's a coach arranged to get there and back again. And a few of us decide to go on the piss in Newcastle, right, as you do. And obviously I'm still, as I said, I could see, but I'm not completely recovered. And so Mick Knowles is having babies, like, thinking, just fucking make sure he's all right. So me and a few of the lads go out, and we go around Newcastle. And I remember it was fucking snowing. It was freezing cold. And we end up in this club, and fucking, something happens, and I ended up fucking getting squared up to, like, which probably wasn't a good idea, because one hit to the head and I'd probably be fucked and that. And one of the lads, Paddy O'Reilly, so he was a large jack, fucking well sound. I think he'd been posted in from Germany. So, like, he was a man of the world, should we say. So he sees this going on, basically, like, runs over and just knocks this geezer clean out. Like, it ain't happening, mate. Consequently, the old Bill there, nick him. We end up missing the last train home. We end up fucking staying around some chick's house, like, and then go to the police station, get him out. No. Did we manage to get him out? I don't think we do. I think he ends up staying there. We get back to camp anyway the next day, all late. Well, again, I'm like, I'm not going to be here. I'm fucking injured. And but we go up to Mix and that, and obviously he's like spitting feathers, like, what the fuck? But ultimately he's just like happy that fucking I'm back in one piece. And basically nobody gets dicked. Nobody gets fucking in shit for it. Because I'm like, well, they were all protecting me. It was my fault. They were just looking after me. So Paddy and everyone that was Paddy, who's still fucking in the cop shop, it's like it all gets like swept under the carpet. So I thought that was quite a good one of an excuse. But because fuck it, I ain't being funny. Like, I was being an arsehole and probably deserved the slap. And Paddy obviously knocked this geezer clean out. So, but yeah,
Nice one, Paddy. Top bloke.
But that's it. That's all. They're the big ones I could think of. We must have been sent some, surely.
Yeah, we've got a couple. So got a couple of voice notes. So we've got one from the Phantom Bearskin, as I'm going to call him.
He's back. He's back on the game. He went missing, didn't he? We thought we'd offended him.
I thought we'd upset him, but he's back in the game. So.
Right, you asked for it. Yeah.
You asked for it. Yeah.
It was a bad time for our battalion. We'd gone down to 2 rifle companies. They disbanded our number 2 company because just the retention was shit, and they weren't recruiting pods. We were doing the same old shit. We're just doing Northern Ireland, Canada, public duties, Northern Ireland, Canada, public duties. It was shit. No one wanted to fucking stay in. Everyone was signing off to get out. And they were literally fucking strong-arming people on the corporal's courses. One of them was me, and I didn't want to be on it. And it was going to be in Canada. When we deployed on exercise in Canada, we were going to do the tactics phase. And we did it with 7 para-RHA, who were part of our battle group. So I'm on this course, and it was shit from day one. My DS, for my section commander, was a bloke called Dean Hammond, who was the guy that was sacked from Sandhurst as an Arras at Sandhurst for bullying Prince Harry and for being a bully. And yeah, it was just a thrashing. No one was learning jack shit. Making everyone stand up and mark time during lessons because bods were just nodding off and just not with it. It was just a thrashing, a typical guards thrashing, and I was scratching my head at how the fuck I can get off this course. So, because it was like 30, 35, 40 degrees in places on the prairies in Canada, I just decided that, do you know what? I'll stop drinking water. So, yeah, I just stopped drinking as much water as we needed. And, yeah, it wasn't pleasant, but I was just waiting to go down with a heat stroke or something like that.
Okay.
Well, it spectacularly backfired because, yeah, the inevitable happened, and it was my TP, my command task, which was an OP, insert overnight, do an OP on a bridge that our support company were pretending to be Russians on. It was just bone. Everyone was going through the motions. It was bollocks because I didn't bother my ass. My model was shit. My orders were shit. We got lost on the way in. It was pretty much daylight by the time we'd set the OP up. My rear protection was ginned it off and they all fell asleep. So it was just shit. And on the way back in, we did 100% kit check. They decided that none of us had put the effort in. It was all bollocks. So they made us play Chase at Bedford. And we'd been out all night with minimal water. I hadn't been drinking water anyway. Chasing Bedford. The last thing I remember was getting a Elvis Presley shaky leg and face planting into a bush or the sand. And yeah, and the next thing I remember, I was being brought round outside the med centre in Fort Wainwright, and they were putting a cannula into my ankle because they couldn't get a vein, and I had a plastic tube down my throat to breathe. In fact, the medic, a guy called Steve Bowles in the back of the ambulance, who I knew, said he thought I was going to die because my pulse was something ridiculous and I had no blood pressure. And yeah, I ended up getting blue lighted. They're on about in contact with next to killing all sorts. I actually scared myself. Ended up in a med centre, like a fucking high dependency thing in Wainwright Hospital, hooked up to fucking all sorts of stuff to just re-inflate me with fluids for about 3 or 4 days. And yeah, sadly, I was gutted. And they said, "Oh, we know you'll be disappointed that you've missed too much of the course. So unfortunately, you're not going to be able to go back on a course." Hoo-hee. So I got off it, but yeah, spectacularly backfired because I almost died. Yeah.
Yeah, the things we do. And that's the thing, like, it's like that thing that's it's just extreme, isn't it? Yeah. Like I was saying about going to the dick doctor in Civic World, you'd never think of that. You'd never think about dehydrating yourself to the point of death. Bloody hell.
We had a Fijian and the tank, like bonnet, if you like, the back decks, it's on a torsion bar. So
okay.
It helps you a little bit to lift it. It's pretty 3/4 of an inch thick still, and it's probably like 8 foot by 4 foot. It's like pool table size. Anyway.
Yeah.
A Fijian had a pair of flip-flops off, and he managed to cut his toes off. But someone quickly got not that his boots would have made a difference. They got his boots off, managed to put his toes in his boots, and his feet in his boots, just so he could make a claim, because and so we don't get in trouble. But we had another bloke changing the oil tank on a tank, and you meant to wear goggles and all that, and he didn't. So he's come running the office, his eyes all burning, and quick, get the goggles on him. So it looks like before someone sees him without them. And burnt all his face, all his hot oil in his eyes. But he had a clean pair of goggles on. But
funny.
It's all about covering each other, though, isn't it? Like,
yeah. It's that brotherhood, isn't it? Like, you just, shit, like, because the other thing, it's like there is a possibility of blanket punishment. So one person fucks up, we're all going to get it. But it's like, you don't want your mate getting in the shit. It's like, what can we do? Like, just fucking Harry Black that thing back together and just put it back in the box. And we're all denying until we die. What have we got? Go on.
My mate Boyd, he's Mrs. Boyd. I asked her.
Is this Mr. Boyd? Okay.
Yeah, this is Mr. Boyd. He used to give blood so he can get out of PT.
Yeah. So that's what? Yeah, it's good.
And then we got a voice note from Sleechy.
Sleechy.
So is it? Fucking me and him been messaging a lot lately. Right, here we go.
Got back off my holidays, actually. Fucking great. Anyway.
Oh, shit.
Yo, all right, lads. How's it going? Steve, Stu, Chizard, if you're there.
Chizard's never here.
Radio check over. Just got back off my holidays, actually. Fucking great. Anyway, you were on about getting out of PT, reasons to get out of PT. Well, when I was a young gunner, this is when I was still in the artillery in Hona. We got warned off for Gordon training, and the fucking whole regiment went into, fucking NBC training, first aid training, fitness training, all of a sudden panic sets in and everyone's training the fucking wigs off. Anyway, so we had a BFT, which in them days was turned into BFL and whatever, fucking mile and a half in red t-shirt, denims and fucking boots. I've been on the piss the night before, I was fucking hanging. Anyway, so couldn't be asked to go to the cookhouse and scoff. I don't know, I'd only puke anyway. So I thought I'd have a quick cup of tea before I went down onto this. We wanted to meet at the gym, ready for the fucking basic fitness test. And I thought I'd have a quick brew, boiled the kettle on my windowsill, and I had one boot on and one boot off, but with my green woolly army socks on. And I went to grab the kettle. I don't know how the fuck I did it, but I sort of like clipped it, and the whole kettle just fell on my foot, the whole fucking kettle of boiling water just went straight through, soaked into the woolly army sock, and just scolded me immediately. And I'm like, fucking shit, hopping around the fucking room, going shit. I grabbed my sock, pulled it off, and I was like, oh shit. And my foot was just like one enormous fucking blister. Thought, this is fucking bad, this is. Couldn't put it down. It was like proper fucking hurting. So I was like, right. Hopped outside the fucking room, there's no one around. Everyone was like filtering out, ready to go to meet down at the gym for this BFT, like people getting in cars and just filtering out. But I was probably last out the block, so I was fucking hopping. And there was this fucking lad there, and I'm not going to say his full name, but his first name was Sean, he knows who he is. And he fucking looked like an officer, he talked like an officer, and he fucking had a name like an officer, and he was just a bit of a fucking dick. And he thought he was in with all the sweats and everything, he thought he was all fucking in there and that, but he was a dick. Anyway, so I said to him, yo, Sean, fucking look at me foot, give me a lift down the med centre. The med centre in Hona was probably about 5-minute walk from our block, but I couldn't put my foot down at all. And I asked this fucking Sean, could this fucking officer look like? I said, yo, give us a lift down the med centre, look at the fucking state. And he goes, no. I couldn't fucking believe it. He was like, no, I'm going to go after this BFT. I'm like, look, he just fucking drove off. Couldn't believe it. Anyway, we'll come back to him in a minute. So I hopped down the fucking med centre, went in there, and they took one look at it and went, holy shit. And they transferred me straight away to the med centre. They had like a little hospital at Fallinbostel, Steve will know. Bit more of a like hospital type thing. Anyway, put me in there. Had to have like fucking juice sucked out my foot. It was fucking hanging. Was in there for about fucking 3 weeks. Had a tonsillitis while I was in there, and then they injected me with penicillin, which I'm allergic to also while I was in there, so I was in alright fucking shit state. But basically, by the time I did get out, all the fucking uptake, whatever it was, training, all the fucking getting ready to go out to the golf training had been done, so I missed all of it. It was quality. But went back into my room, saw my mate Coops, and I was like, yo, fucking that Sean geezer wouldn't give me a lift down the med centre. And he's like, right, we'll get him. And what he was the fucking OC's driver. So it's a right fucking bummer. And all he had to do down the vehicle park, we had all the fucking wagons in there, all the guns, all the fucking 432s, everything in there. So, and he had his own little fucking corner of the gun park. So all he had to do was maintain and like first parade and keep the OC's Rover sparkly. So we were like, right, so fucking dinner time, what we used to do was to crawl over, fucking on our hands and knees, crawl over to his fucking, the OC's Rover while fucking this geezer went there, would unscrew do you remember those little rubies on the back of a Land Rover? Like little fucking red brake lights. We used to unscrew those, take the bulbs out, fucking just smash them, and fucking put the rubies back on. So next day, all he had to do, while we were all track bashing and fucking putting barrels through, all he had to do was first parade the OC's Rover. Went on for days, and he was like, fucking hell, who keeps doing it? Because obviously he's trying to first parade it, and he's like, no fucking brake lights again, it was us. Anyway, one naffy break, me and Coops said, yeah, we'll go over and we'll do something else. And Coops, he's a whole new fucking story. I could do a whole sleechy book on Coops. He's fucking brilliant. But he
had an idea, and he goes, "Well, get in the back of the OC's Rover, this kid's Rover," and it was FFR, fit for radio, so it had all like the cables and attachments and shit, all for the Klansman, all for the, high-tech Klansman. It was fucking dog shit, but he had all that in there, all the wires and everything. And there was this like metal flag, like this really like sharp metal pointed flag. So kids got hold of it and just use it like an axe and just smash the fuck out of everything in the back of the FFR Rover. All the fucking wires and that, fucking all hell fucking broke loose. But we never told anybody, and we got away with it. But it was a big thing for ages. Who's done this? The fucking OC's Rover. And anyway, if you're listening, it was me.
Yeah.
There you go. Anyway, lads, hope you're having a good one. Speak to you soon. Ta-ra.
Oh, funny fuck, really.
Thank you, brilliant.
Sleechy, if you're listening, I want you to set us up with this Coops. Like you said, he sounds like a bit of a legend. You said he was a whole different story, so we want to get him on. What do you reckon, Steve?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Because we want to create right. We've had a lot of good feedback because the last episode we had Sleechy on. We've had a lot of good feedback, haven't we? And he is a bit of a legend. So we want to create a new section, like I don't know, like Sleechy's soapbox or something like that, where each episode will ring Sleechy to get his views on the world.
Yeah, his
Bit
opinions,
like-
his wisdom.
Yeah, he's a bit like he could be like our version of Ricky Gervais's, what's his name, Cole Pilkington. But yeah, we want to know Coops' details. Get him in contact with us.
Yeah.
You got any other ones?
No, that's it.
I've got you ignited my memory, so I've got
That's
sent.
what's good about like this bullshit we discuss, and it just
Well, no, in
goes from one thing to another.
my mate Af. Did you meet him at the VE day? I
I
don't
don't
know.
think I did.
So he's sent in some questions. I'm just trying. So Af is. So he's the guy that he does all these mad challenges. He's done Kilimanjaro. He's done what's he done? He's done like me, him, and one other done the 3 Peaks challenge some time ago. He's just up for smashing things, like putting his body to the test, and he wants to do. He wants to pull a car basically over a kilometre and raise some money for the muster point. So I said we'd get in contact with Bassingbourne, because although I was informed that they're looking at making their runway live again, but it's not going to be busy, is it? I don't know whether there's a possibility we could speak to someone about using that space. I don't know, but he was interested.
Even the camp, it's a big camp. There's long straight roads.
Yeah,
So
yeah. We need to look into that. I said I'd email that guy that came down from. He was like part. I don't know what's it called now. Mission Ready, wasn't it? Mission Ready are based there, aren't they? Which is like your rock tag. So it's just some random questions, because that's the type of guy he is. Nothing too over the top. So, because he's really interested in all the military stuff. I think I mentioned before he tried applying for the parachute regiment and he had pockets of air behind his eardrums, so could never do it. But he's got a question for you, Steve. Would you ever consider writing a book about your life before, during, and after service?
I have wrote a book about my time in the army.
Well, there you go. I knew the answer to that.
Yeah.
So we've got
I
an
haven't-
exclusive. When you're publishing it then?
I don't know. It's nearly finished. Well, I wrote it. It's getting edited now. So it's not a long book. It's 200 words. No, it's
Has it got plenty
it's
of
not-
pictures?
yeah. It's it's a short book. Is it a novella or something? I think they called it.
All right.
Yeah, it's all. I've done it a while ago. To be fair, I keep adding bits to it. That's the trouble. Every time I meet my mates, but I forgot about it.
Oh,
But
interested.
It's a
Go
book. It's just a fun book. It's a serious book, but it's a bit like the muster point. It's the stupid stuff, the funny things. That's what I wanted to get across.
Yeah,
I find
yeah,
that, Paul Glazebrook, the Green Jacket, his book's a similar sort of thing. It's
Yeah.
fucking hilarious.
They because so my missus is currently reading Bill, one of the older boys from the Master Point, reading his book. And like, she loves it, and sometimes she reads it out and I listen, and the kids are into it as well. Little Layla's like, oh, looking forward to meeting Bill. So I needed to bring her down to the muster point one time. But interestingly, I was speaking to him about it yesterday, and he said the same thing, that he'd write bits and then he'd be like, oh, shit, I've missed a bit, and then add it on. I think it's quite therapeutic writing. He wants to know, are non-veterans welcome at your breakfast club thing?
I would say, yes, and I'd say no. However, occasionally, not a problem. If you want to come and have a look what we do, not just random people turning up, but if you're a friend, family member, whatever, of course, come and have a chat, see what we do.
Yeah,
I'm sure
you have to pay for your own food, but
I'm sure it's not a problem. Obviously, try and let us know, because we don't want to be
just
overwhelmed.
Turn up.
People.
But even we're struggling with that. People just organisations saying, "Oh, can we come down and do a presentation?" It's like, it's not really the vibe. Like, you're more than welcome to come down and integrate, like Sheila does from Walking with the Wounded, and I think she does it amazingly. She just comes along, sits down, has a chair, has a brew, and then obviously she's aware enough to obviously explain what Walking with the Wounded do and see if people need support. She's down tomorrow, isn't she? Did you say?
I think she is, yeah. She's bringing a couple of people with her.
Nice. What about this one from him? And I mean, these questions are quite more on the serious side. So are there any organisations, charities that combine civvy men's mental health and squaddie veteran mental health? I mean, I guess veteran-specific ones are veteran-specific. I guess, like, men's mental health ones would welcome veterans, but...
I think the bloke's coming tomorrow from, I forgot what it's called now, Coffee...
Oh, Coffee, yeah. Oh, yeah, so, because I was, actually, I thought about him. So Jim from Coffee and Coping.
That's it,
so
that's not a military theme, but it's just a men's group, isn't it, I think?
Well, no, it's not just men, so I went down there. So the person that was in Sheila's post prior to Sheila put me in contact with this gym, and I actually went over there, and I walked in there thinking it's specifically veterans. So I'm like, "Hi, I'm Stu, blah, 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 blah." And then I sort of realised that actually maybe they're not. I think maybe there was one veteran there. But yeah, that's the only one I can think of locally where...
Yeah. You've also got these, I don't know the internet, but it's like Men in Sheds or something, it's called, where towns have a small warehouse or something full of tools, and blokes go and build things. I know where my mum lives, there's a bench near the train station, and it's built by such and such group, Men in the Sheds or something it's called. So there's things out there.
Yeah.
But, I don't think there's much that is advertises military, and it's sort of one or the other, really, I suppose.
Yeah.
But,
and I guess, as I said, so veteran stuff would specifically be for veterans, but obviously civvy men's health, they'd welcome veterans, but are they going to be veteran aware, if that makes sense? Like, obviously Jim down at Coffee and Coping is, but I don't know, maybe that's a question for the listeners. Are you aware of anything in your local area that does both?
Suitable.
Yeah. It's a good point, isn't it? Good point, I think. That was it from him. Keep sending your stories in. We've got a...
Is he popping down? Is he gonna pop down?
Actually, now that I've got your permission, I'll invite him, maybe. Well, no, I didn't want to say... I mean, I think I'm exactly the same thought of you. Like, if Af wants to come down, because obviously, well, I know him. I know he's interested in veteran stuff or military stuff, and it wouldn't be like come down every week. I think that's perfectly acceptable, because it's about spreading that's what we want as well, won't we? We want people to hear the veteran stories and So,
well, funny enough, that the funeral I went to the other day, John Durrant, I didn't know this, but he was quite a private man, but his dad was killed in 1940 on a retreat in France, and I didn't know that. But I would love to have spoke to him about his dad. I think he was only a couple of years old, but that's gone now. His dad's regiment, whatever, it's gone. But it's good to share these stories.
Yeah, definitely. So if you know anything locally, like Af was on about with the sort of civilian stroke veteran side. Hold on, I can hear something. No, I'm expecting that topsail to be taken off my drive. Sorry about that. So interestingly, we've got a new email address, which I do need to set up because it's gone out on those leaflets I created. So it's a generic one, and it's contact@themusterpoint.org.uk. And if you send an email to that, it will go to both Steve and I and Chizard and Mark, because Mark's got a muster point one. He's taken a bit of a lead on creating events. So yeah, that's contact@themusterpoint.org.uk, and you'll get through to any of us really. So keep sending your stuff in. Obviously, just inundate Steve with the bullshit, the funny, because he loves
George,
it.
Actually, George, we didn't even think George could use emails.
He's so old. A shock, wasn't it?
But
he was emailing both of us together, wasn't he? I was like, what the
giving
fuck?
Giving us a bit of shit. But he was in the Green Jackets, and he said they was known as the Black Mafia. And I said, oh, so was the Tank Regiment. What? I said, why were the Green Jackets called the Black Mafia? And he went, I don't really know. But he goes, I've got it written down somewhere. So he said it come from the dark uniform of the original Rifles regiments, and the number of formal Green Jacket officers being promoted to high ranks.
Nice.
That's what he's got written down. So.
Happy days. Cheers for that, George. See you tomorrow.
Yeah.
Right.
No, you won't. He's getting his prostate checked tonight.
Oh, yeah, he is, isn't he? Yeah. He looks forward to that every year, doesn't he? It's the highlight
they said
of his
we
year.
could do it with a blood test now. He said, no.
What's the finger?
Yeah.
Yeah. Excellent. Right. So, shall we do the Bravo Zulu or the Muckers Remembered first?
Bravo Zulu.
So, the Bravo Zulu, which interestingly, so the Beyond the Wire, which will go out after this episode, we've just interviewed Jer Fowler. Was it? Fuck. It was Jer Fowler, wasn't it? Fucking hell. I'm useless. I'm useless at this. Sack him. Yeah, it is. Why am I even questioning myself? So Jer Fowler, he's a bit, it's one of them, if you know, you know. So he's a bit of a legend, and he's set up Veterans in Crisis in Sunderland. And it's basically a bit like we spoke to Andy Power from
Healthier Heroes.
Healthier Heroes. Fucking hell. Sorry, Steve. Sorry, listeners. So it's a similar sort of thing, like one-stop shop. You've got, like, they can take veterans off the street, they can signpost them to employment, they can give them jobs. He was saying, wouldn't they? He can. They've got access to therapy. He's in the facility that they use. They've got a one-bed flat above them that they can take people off the street. But so it is specifically for veterans in fucking Sunderland.
Yeah.
But I think the most incredible thing was, he said, in Sunderland, there are no homeless veterans through the work he's done and collaborating and with local authorities and organisations getting on board with what he's doing. There are no fucking homeless veterans in Sunderland. And considering they've got one of the biggest populations and densities of veterans, that's fucking incredible. Like, I'll swear I'm getting excited. I think it's amazing, isn't it, Steve?
Yeah, and he said, like, you know, he's quite happy to share the blueprints, the business model with other people if they're serious about doing something similar. But didn't he say they've got something like 20,000 veterans?
Yeah. Just in Sunderland City. And that, so if you're listening to this in Sunderland or even the Northeast, look on their website, like, because, you know, again, he's one of these people, he's collaborative, he's not precious about stuff. Like, look him up. If you're suffering, I guarantee fucking Jer will know someone.
The thing with these towns like that, though, is, no disrespect to it, but there's not much there work-wise. A lot of people join the forces because there's no...
Yeah, well, that's what he said, wasn't it?
Yeah, there's no careers. So I think, and, you know, all the dockyards are all closed. But so you do find these towns where there's a lot of veterans, there's not much there when they get out.
But what was it he said? Some of his success stories were a veteran walked in that needed therapy 5 minutes later, had them in front of a therapist.
Got someone homed in 15 minutes or something.
15 minutes to be homed. Yeah. And he says it's not just him. He's come up with a brainchild that he engages with the different services, and they all know who he is now. And this is what it's about. It's about local authorities fucking engaging and doing the right thing, like ourselves, like Joe, like Andy. Like, we're not expecting to hand over the veteran and go, fucking you deal with him. Like, the smaller organisations, we're there to support and do everything. We just need that little bit of extra help in policy from local authorities. So, as I said, if you're in Sunderland, because they do activities, they've got breakfast clubs, they've got all different shit going on.
Yeah, so they do paddle boarding,
yeah.
Sorts of things.
So if you're a veteran in Sunderland and you're not aware of them, although part of me thinks fucking every veteran up there knows who they are, but if you're struggling, get in contact. Even if you're not struggling, like,
pop in.
Just pop in.
Yeah. Buy a t-shirt.
Yeah. And if you're in that area, don't be afraid to reach out, because he's a fucking friendly guy that will if he can't support you, then he'll get you support somehow. And if you're an organisation anywhere in the UK, like the Muster Point, like whatever, Bottle down in fucking Hampshire, whoever, and you want to, he'll share information, he'll talk to you, and fucking he'll show you what he's doing. And
it works at the end of the day.
Yeah, and hopefully, well, we're definitely going to go up there, see him, and we're going to bring back his template and present it locally to our councillors down here, because I don't know, I thought he was brilliant. Funnily enough, another recovering addict like myself, like I think Andy Powell had his issues with addiction. Fucking wounded healers, mate, wounded healers. But yeah, reach out to him, and as always, I'll put their details in the show notes, and tune in next week where you can see the interview. Yeah. So now Steve has got a Muckers Remembered. So if you want to share your Muckers Remembered.
Yeah, so this week I want to remember my mate Lance Corporal James Anthony Cartwright, or Jay as we all knew him. He was a Londoner, and he joined the 2nd Royal Tank Regiment when he left school, and he was in Badger Squadron. And I loved being with Jay. He was always up to mischief. Always he used to do funny voices and impressions, and he was always playing pranks, just a good laugh. I did plenty of exercises, adventure training in Canada. I went sailing with him in Canada, and had loads of nights out with him. And we were both warrior drivers, and we were deployed to Basra on Optelic 10 in 2007. On the 16th of June 2007, Jay lost his life. His warrior, he was driving his warrior, and it rolled off a bridge, and it fell into a river, and sadly he lost his life. And he left a massive hole in the regiment. He really did, and we all miss him. And I'll see you in the green fields, mate.
Cheers for that, Steve. I know you've spoken to me about him, and I think he left a big hole in your heart as much as
he
the
did.
regiment.
I go to his grave every year, and a few of us go, and we have a few beers. His family come, we have a beer with them, and we celebrate his life. And it's not just him we're remembering everyone. We're just there for each other as well. It's just not an excuse, because there's never an excuse to get together, but the weather's normally nice. I always get sunburnt. Yeah. And so we check in on each other. We have a lot. People turn up and they didn't even know him. You know, they joined afterwards. I've invited Stoner. I'm hoping he can come. If he can't, never mind. But like I say, his family love the fact that we do this every year. And my mate Danny, who was the gunner when it happened, he actually messaged me a few days ago and said, "Hope you're please do Muckers Remember for Jay." I said, "Don't worry, I'm definitely doing it, mate." Yeah. And I did ask him if he'd wanted to do it, and he didn't feel like he could. So I said, "Look, it's an honour for me to do it. I'll do it." But Danny said, like, this time of year is really hard for him, and since he left the army recently, he said he's noticed it's got harder and harder this time of year. Yeah. But like I say, there was a commander, a gunner, and then infantry in the back. It must have been horrible, underwater in muddy water, getting out, knowing that one of them's still in there, but they couldn't get to him.
Yeah, horrific.
Yeah.
Oh, thanks for that, Steve. Are we going to do? We got sent in another one, which we're hoping to record with the guy that sent it in. But have you got it in front of you, or?
Oh no, I haven't. No.
Should we do it?
Yeah, go on. Do you want to do it?
All right. So the second one we've got is from one of the guys that comes to our muster point breakfast, Daryl Stroud, and he'd like to remember his best mate Brian Dixie Deans, who passed away last year on the 11th of June following a 2-year battle with cancer. So Dixie was a leading seaman with the Royal Navy Electronic Warfare Branch, and he joined the Royal Navy in 1978 and left in 1985, having served on HMS Sirius, HMS Galatea and HMS Aurora. Amongst the many highs of his career was most notably that he represented HMS Devonport on the Navy winning field gun teams at the Royal Tournament in 1981 and 1985. He went on to serve for 30 years in the London Fire Brigade, retiring as the borough commander of the Royal Borough of Kensington and Chelsea. At 6'4", he was a giant of a man with a personality to match. He was one of those men who could light up a room and hold court wherever he went. His rendition of Barnacle Builder Sailor was legendary. R.I.P. Mucker. So hopefully we've done him justice there, Daryl. Weirdly, I've just cut... all the hairs have stood up on my arm. Like
Daryl was in hospital at a minute.
Yeah.
Had his, gallbladder removed. So one of our regulars, top bloke.
Yeah, and as we said, British Forces personnel don't just die in battle, they go on to live successful. Yeah. I mean, he was a firefighter for 30 years, so he's had an entire different career of danger. Yeah. And unfortunately, that bastard cancer has got him. So thank you for that. Yeah, I've really enjoyed this episode, Steve. As much as I was frustrated with the technology, I feel a lot more, I don't know, I've enjoyed it being like this. I really have. I think it started with...
Is that because my dog's not farting? Or
yeah, there's a bit of that. Yeah. And I'm not drinking your shit coffee. But I think it was all started with that interview with Jer.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, it just fucking, made me really positive. And I don't know, again, I just think like that muck has remembered both of them. I don't know, knowing how you spoke about Jay and then having one of our veterans, like someone close to him, I don't know, it just meant a lot to me. And then combined, as usual, with the fucking bollocks that we chat about, what was it, like the excuses? Anything stand out for you, Steve?
No, I love it. I do. I really love it. I love it when people get involved. I say it when we've got people who always just send stuff in, but even if I'm chasing them up, I love it.
Yeah,
it's good.
And we want to again always send the stuff in, and I'll repeat it again.
What.
Yeah, no matter what. Even like Af, the stuff Af sent in was what he wanted to know.
And also, we are very biased towards the army because we're both army. But if the Navy and Air Force lads, even the referee, I suppose, but even if they want to say, what the fuck are you on about when you talk about this? Or I say, like, if people want to be anonymous, send us videos, voice notes, whatever. Just send us it and the instructions, and we've got the Phantom Bearskin. He likes to be anonymous.
Phantom Bearskin.
He sent me a video. The actual video that I played, he's naked, so can't see his bits, but he's.
Well, I don't think he's seen them in about fucking 30 years, has he? You know what? I've just realised. I think we missed the Armed Forces and Veterans news, but I'm not even bothered. Are you?
No, I'm not bothered.
Unless
just see if there's any, if
well,
anything
it was about the Strategic Defence Review, which we covered.
we've covered.
You said something about the. Oh yeah, I'll tell you what we do need to speak about that Liverpool victory parade
Yeah,
where that Royal Marine went a bit rogue, and it well
Yeah,
a bit rogue, fucking very rogue.
The thing is, no one knows that obviously what happened was terrible. A lot of innocent people, but I don't think he's as guilty as it sounds. I mean, obviously he's guilty because he did it, but
Well,
for
poor
whatever reason-
mental health doesn't excuse culpability or liability. It's like, I killed my family and fucking 1,000 people. I'm a psychopath. Let me off. It's not as simple as that. But
Yeah, and like I say, they've mentioned he's a Royal Marine. They mentioned his name. They've mentioned his address as well. Which I
have
don't
they?
like.
Fucking
Yeah,
hell.
the road he lives down. They mentioned that. Yeah, it's I don't know, sad, isn't it? It's sad. Obviously, it's sad for the people, but it's sad for him as well because I'd imagine he's probably on remand now. Probably,
Yeah, he'll be banged up, won't he?
yeah, and he's probably in bits. You know, the fact that he's done what he's done. Everyone said he was always a lovely bloke.
Yeah.
But I know there's videos of before that he drove down the road or something. People blocked him in, and he started beeping him, and they started smashing his car up. So he fled. Whether that's, I don't know. It doesn't, like you say, it doesn't excuse it. But hopefully, Opnova does him justice, and he gets
The support he needs.
sympathy. But he gets looked after if he has got issues.
Well, you think the amount of lives it's affected. I think I saw something like his missus only found out because she went like, "Fucking hell, that's my car" on the news.
Yeah.
It's not good. It's not good.
Well, I don't think anyone died, did they? Thankfully, and that don't make it any better. But 100 odd people run over. It's fucking, yeah. I don't know.
Horrendous.
But I don't know why they had to announce he was a Royal Marine. Would they have announced it if he was a postman or a factory worker? You know,
Yeah, it's the press, innit? Sensationalism. I am glad that, because obviously with the Southport stuff, information was withheld, and obviously that just creates the fucking rumour circus, and
yeah.
which isn't helpful. And then that sort of probably led to the riots that happened. So I'm glad that they announced it, like that it was a white middle-aged man from Liverpool. I hope if it ever happens again where it's a Muslim or person of colour, that the same sort of sharing of information's implemented, just to, like, again, stop this rumour mill, because that's what causes even more damage than has already been caused. But yeah, but is it? Do they need to know he was a Royal Marine?
I don't think that, not at the minute.
I mean, what was the purpose of it? Well, I can't.
I don't even think they charged him before they'd
Yeah.
mentioned that. And like I say, what does it achieve? You know, at the minute it doesn't.
Yeah.
And I think he served late 80s, early 90s. So it's a long time ago.
Yeah.
You know, but whatever. Like I say, my faults are with the people who are injured and him.
And his family, yeah, and everyone involved. And
Yeah,
I
kids who've
just
got to
hope
school knowing their dad's been involved in that.
everyone
Like I say,
gets.
everyone said he was a lovely bloke.
Yeah.
So God knows.
I just hope everyone gets the support they need, whether they were on the street that day, driving the car, family members, whatever, or even people like just some. It may have affected people just hearing the story. Like, you never know.
Yeah. So.
But yeah,
There was I did see another thing on Facebook. It was some bloke slashing people in Tidworth. Did you see that? I think it was on a motorbike. And
yeah. I mean, yeah. I'm a bit like Sleechy. I don't really watch the news, but I did hear
this
something
was
go
on
on.
Facebook.
Oh, was it?
Fill your boots and all that. People was reporting that
Okay.
driving up to squaddies, I think, with a motorbike helmet and just slashing them with Stanley knife or a knife.
I mean, is that been
If
verified?
anyone's got any update on that, because I know my old regiment was in Tidworth.
Yeah.
I had a lot of regiments in Tidworth. It's a massive town, massive garrison town. But yeah,
Well, I want it verified, not just hearsay. I'll fill your boots.
horrible fucker.
Oh, what, the bloke will fill your boots? No need for that, man.
No, the slasher, the
The
Tidworth
slasher.
Yeah.
But yeah, another good episode 17. What we're talking about next time, I did see it on here somewhere.
Unusual and unique or unique traditions.
Yeah, because
Weird traditions.
this has come out as something, isn't it? Going, I know we had something was out at the Muster Point breakfast with it, so that got
It
mentioned.
was in the Weatherspoons after the VE Day parade thing or ceremony, and one of our blokes was a Grenadier Guard, and he basically said he was at a function, like
I remember
black tie function, and they was toasting the Queen, and everyone stood up, and he sat down. Or he was sat down, and someone got really pissed off that he didn't stand up, and I think his dad said, "Have you asked my son why he doesn't stand up?" And they said, "No, I'm going to ask him." And he said, "Because I was in the Queen's company, and our loyalty to the monarch is unquestionable. So the fact if we stand up, it's actually an insult." So I think that's brilliant. But I think you got some bottle to be able to do it. If you're with all your Queen's company, fair enough. But if you're the only one and no one knows it, you've got some bottle to be able to do that.
Oh, that guy, the guy you're talking about's got some balls, isn't he?
Yeah, he don't give a shit.
But because there's the duty ones where, what was it, the pioneer side stripey carried a hammer and could grow a beard. Obviously everyone can grow a beard now, but back in our day, Steve,
but it was that other one. If you did 22 years as a private, you got an RSM's pension.
Fucking hell.
I think that's a load of bollocks, but
I know some people that done 22 years. I think they may have got to like stripey or whatever. Trust me, they ain't got fucking WO2 or WO1 pensions. But
yeah, no, apparently if you was it was called the Queen's Private or something. That's what I heard.
Oh,
there was when
the
we was
Queen's
in Tidworth,
Private. You want that title, didn't you?
Yeah, there was this bloke in Tidworth. He was it the Royal Welsh? I think it was Royal Welsh. Yeah, and he looked like a piranha. This bloke, he was a right ugly fuck. He had all teeth pointing out of everywhere, and he was fucking ancient. And he was a private, and apparently he was like the Queen's Private or whatever. So. Apparently he was like really into like Nazis, and his room was all decorated with swastikas and stuff. Apparently.
All right. But yeah, so if you've got any weird traditions from your unit or any other unit, let us know, because that's what we'll be speaking about. When will we be speaking about it, Steve? Just trying to think about recording time. So potentially the 23rd of June. Yeah. So you've got a couple of weeks to hit Steve up. What's your email address, Steve, in case they've forgotten?
steve@themusterpoint.org.uk.
Yeah, and you can also find us on Facebook.
Yeah. TikTok.
What's the Facebook? At the Muster Point Veterans. TikTok, I haven't really been posting to, but you can find us there. Twitter is at the Muster Point. Not that Steve
TikTok
goes on that.
Point, and YouTube, the Muster Point Veterans.
There you go. Yeah, send us your stuff.
But if you just Google the Muster Point, you can see
it comes up nowadays, doesn't it? We're getting up there, getting up the ranks, the Google ranks.
Yeah, and then you're going to web links to everything.
I need to update that really, because do you know the section of Meet the Team where it's me and you, and then it's some comments we've made, like I just made them up, so maybe we need to put a bit more thought into it. But sound. All right, anything else?
No, I think we're all good to go, mate.
All right, take it away, Steve.
That's another episode done and dusted. Thanks to everyone that got involved.
As always, we've had a bit of fun, remembered our muckers, and shared some funny dits.
Next week, we'll be talking about unusual and unique traditions, whether it's a regimental goat that outranked you or the weird ceremony you had for new lads on board ship.
Get in touch with questions and stories. Share your unit's weirdest tradition, or just send us anything worth sharing.
Voice notes, DMs, or backco. Find us at Facebook at the Muster Point Veterans, X at the Muster Point, TikTok at the Muster Point, and YouTube the Muster Point Veterans.
Until then, parade, fall up.